Hello and welcome back to my channel and my series with Liz Nagle, Self-Mastery with Liz Nagle. So hopefully you all know who Liz Nagle is now. And if you don't, you can go back to the previous videos that I've done with her and check it out. So today it's quite fun because Liz has something she wants to share and I have absolutely no idea what it is. So I'm going to hand it straight over. I will, by the end of it, hopefully have an idea of a title for it. So we will see. So Liz, please share away.
Okay, so I have two things, two kind of downloads that I got in this last week that I feel are really, pardon?
I'm going to take notes.
Okay, okay, cool. That I feel are really simple, but profound, really profound, and so simple. And the first one was when I was driving up the motorway the other day. And I'm in the car, I'm on the motorway, there's traffic, here and there, but we're all moving quite fast. And I'm on my way to Valencia. And of course, I'm sitting there thinking about the traffic and where I'm going and, and I'm getting to Valencia. So I'm kind of like, I'm relaxed and everything, but I'm still kind of waiting to get to Valencia. I'm waiting to get to where I'm going. I'm kind of looking around the truck, do I need to overtake? Do I need to go a bit faster, a bit slower? I'm doing all of that. I'm driving, obviously. And suddenly this thought came to me. And it was like, oh my God. And I'll tell you what the thought was. I'm not going anywhere. I am sitting still. I am sitting here. That's all I'm doing. And life is coming towards me. Valencia is coming towards me. Where I'm going is coming towards me. I don't have to make a move, really. I am right here, right now. All that is, all that ever was, all that I ever was, even what I was, 2 seconds earlier, is surrounding me, supporting me. And I'm just sitting here in this seat and oh my God, isn't this magic? It's mad. And the difference there was no difference. I was still going to Valencia, but the difference in my posture, in my sense of relaxation, the calmness, the peace that came over me, the feeling of being completely supported, safe, part of everything that is. Just this peace came over me. And I'm just sitting there in this very, comfortable seat. And all I had to do is decide, am I going to go right or left or, faster or slower? But because I'm sitting there in this sense of calm, everything is sort of happening in slight slow motion. And so I can make clearer choices. I can see, the signposts. I'm not going to miss a thing. I'm not missing a thing because I'm just sitting there going nowhere. And yet life, everything is that I need is coming towards me. What do you think?
Wow. Well, I love it. And I agree 100% because it's reminding me of some of the teachings from Sara Landon and the council. And I will put a link in the description to that because they are always talking about let your next step come to you. Let your next step come to you. And there's a lovely quote that she says about stillness is the point of acceleration. And so I think you've just completely beautifully explained, because we hear these things and they're great and they can resonate with us. But what I love about what you've just said is you've shown us what it looks like in our physical experience, because we hear a lot of these, spiritual phrases or what have you, and until we've experienced them in our physical world, it's difficult to embody them completely. And you're showing us now a beautiful example of how excited and beautiful life is when we embody those phrases that we've heard, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've heard them all. I've heard that too, and I've understood it, and I've experienced it, but not to that level.
Yeah.
And it was, and I was popping in and out of it. It wasn't like it came in and I was there. It was like it was coming and going, and I was, the traffic or whatever was pulling me in and out. But by the end of the journey, even though I was driving through Valencia City, and I'm not used to driving through cities anymore, and somebody rang me on the phone and they needed to talk to me there and then, and I had to try and pull in, and it was all getting very chaotic. I was so calm. I was just like, this is life coming towards me. I will deal with one thing at a time. I was able to, because it was happening in slow motion.
Yeah.
And while as I was driving along, I was picturing it more and more to myself, but it kind of reminded me of an old Cary Grant or Grace Kelly movie where they're driving along in a car, and you can see now with the technology that they're just on a blue screen, and the road is just a movie passing them by. But that's sort of what that's sort of what I was experiencing, and it was just the simplicity of it, and the peace and the clarity that I got was like, yeah, I have to share that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you did. It's reminding me of a journey that I had to do a few years ago when I left my husband in Cuenca Hospital, and somehow I had to get the van, big a van, which I had never driven, back to Althira, and having in that emotional state that I was in, of course. And it was funny because I was very nervous about doing that, and my whole world had just turned upside down. When you go on holiday and you come back 2 days later with your husband in hospital, and I remember then I felt so looked after. I think it was just, I felt so looked after. And what caught my eye to begin with was the shades of green on the side of the road that just kept being enhanced. And I just could see the colors of the countryside that I was driving through. There was something going on another level. I was just trying to get this van back. But every time I got to a junction, it kind of cleared. And every time, like you say, I saw the signposts, and it was actually the most effortless journey I've done. Yeah. And yet it had all the potential for being the most difficult, challenging journey I've done. But even when I hit Valencia City as well, because I had to go towards Valencia City to come back down to Althira, it was literally like cars were moving out of the way for me to get out or to go because I didn't know where I was going. I'd never been on that road at all, and never driven that such a large vehicle. So yeah, it's something interesting, isn't it? That's when it's meant to be. And as you know, I do the journey, that I do from one place to another. I do it regularly now, not to Cuenca, and between the two places. And it's exactly the same. I feel like that as well a lot of the time. And it is this clearing of the way. And sometimes, I don't know whether you feel this, but I often find myself on my own on a motorway. I could be on the motorway going between Pago and Althira, and suddenly there's no other cars around, and I'm just sitting there and I'm loving the colors of the trees and on the edge of the road and stuff. And I always feel like that I'm jumping timelines. I don't know if you feel like that, but I feel when the road clears like that and there's nobody else in sight,
Yes.
and I'm sitting there effortlessly, because I know the journey, I could do it blindfold, but I won't. But you know what I mean. And I'm sitting there so effortlessly, as like you say, I'm not doing anything, right? But
Yeah.
I'm still going somewhere. And something happens, doesn't it? And I think that I don't know, I just think it's a good opportunity to jump timelines. But then I'm a bit confused about timelines. I'm not saying I understand timelines completely, because every time we make a choice, we're changing
New
timelines. I
timeline.
think everything is, you know, like sliding doors.
Yeah.
But something shifts. That's what I'm saying. Something shifts.
Well, that kind of brings me on to my next
Oh, good.
topic. Ta-da! Well done, Deborah. You didn't even know. My next topic is not timelines, but dimensions.
Okay, yeah.
So it's to me, it's like shifting dimensions. When we're in that void of all possibility, and it's just more obvious when there's no other people or cars around. It's like I'm just here on the edge of what? On the edge of all potential, basically. And okay, so was talking yesterday about with someone who was talking about waking other people up, you know, and
Oh, that old chestnut.
that old chestnut, that old chestnut. And it's, yeah, we've, you know, and it's about getting critical mass and, you know, having, and that there are, in fact, seem to be more people waking up every day, and you know, because you see them on YouTube or Rumble or whatever, you know.
Was they reflecting back to you your own awakening?
Okay, that's kind of a given now, you know, with this person that I'm talking to. But it gets forgotten as well. There's still a they and an us, they, you know, them and me, and you know, they, and there's the dark they and the light they, and they. But that is the third dimension. The third dimension is all about duality.
Mm-hmm.
And as we, okay, so I'm just going to put this in first person, but it applies to everybody, okay? But as I evolve my thinking, my consciousness, my frequency, vibration, I'm shifting out of the duality thinking, that separation mind, the us and them thing. I'm shifting out of that into we are all one, that one consciousness. Up to, you know, through the fourth into the fifth dimension, where duality doesn't exist anymore. There's no separation. However, like a computer game that has different levels, it has, you know, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 or more, perhaps. Say this is a computer game with 12 levels, okay? And I'm currently playing level 3, which has war, disease, us, them, all of the trials that our world has, because that's the level I'm on, okay? So when I master that, and there's safe points all the way through, you know, you don't always start right back at the beginning. You know, you save and then you're on the next bit, and then it's not just a short level, it's a long level. But as I master duality and see actually that duality doesn't exist. I beat that level.
Mm.
And I move up to level 5, which has no duality and is all oneness. And it still has its challenges because it's still a computer game. Okay, it's still life. It's still a game. It's the same game, but now the challenges are different in level 5 than they were in level 3. But level 3 still exists. I can go back to level 3 and play that game anytime I want. It doesn't go anywhere. It never gets fixed because it's level 3. It's perfect as it is. It's just that level in the game. We need all 12 levels to have the full game. The third level doesn't cease to exist when I beat that level and move up to level 5. So there is nothing to fix. There is no, trying to get everybody to evolve. It's just me and my however many 50 trillion, 70 trillion, whatever billion, trillion cells. That's it. I'm playing the game. Me and my body are playing the game. Me and my avatar are playing the game. So, yeah, so level 3, it's not about fixing it or changing it in any way. It will always be level 3. It'll always be there. And I can come and go out of it as much as I want. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense because also you can go back and play that game with all the knowledge that you have about navigating it, and take all the enjoyment out of it,
Yes.
Without having the suffering, without having the
Yes.
suffering, because there's a lot of things in the 3D that we can enjoy. So in our human experience. So that makes perfect sense to me. And funny enough, I was talking to a client yesterday. Well, I think I've mentioned it on videos as well, but people that want to eradicate or extinguish or get rid of or obliterate or whatever words they use, the evil or the bad ones and all of this in the duality that you're talking about. The way I see it is very similar, but I see it as in everything exists. It's this quantum truth. Everything exists. So what kind of resonates with me is that if anyone has ever at any time thought something, because thoughts exist as well, even though they're not physical, then it's in the all that is. Okay. And things just get manifested more easily when more people are thinking about it. We know that. So everything exists. That's what the all that is about. It's the all that is. So this, whatever wrongdoing, evil, whatever people want to talk about that they are not happy with in the third dimension, it exists. And the truth is it's going to always exist, because it's all happening in the now. But also they're obviously feeding it because of the talking and thinking and putting emotions on it.
Well, yes, but also just the fact that they think there's an us and a them or a light and a dark is duality.
Exactly.
That is duality. So
exactly.
All they're doing is embodying it.
What they're doing is they're keeping it in their reality.
Yeah.
They're keeping it in their reality because one of the things that
they're anchoring into it. Yeah.
One of the things that I say is, so everything exists. Everything.
Sorry, right? I just realized I said they're anchoring into it. There's obviously me is anchoring into it still.
But this is why we have to have these conversations, So we're listening to what we're saying and what's coming up. That's why it's so good. But yeah, so everything exists, but we only get to experience that which we resonate with. So if you don't want these supposedly negative things in your reality, the only way out is to raise your frequency, like you said, to evolve. As you evolve, you know, we're evolving
As you
into.
master those emotions, those thoughts, those beliefs, as you master them and get the clarity by sitting in the moment and allowing life to come through you, you know, it's as you master the duality of the third dimension and see for it for what it is, it's all one, just two ends of the stick. As you master that, you move, you automatically evolve.
Exactly. Well, it is about, I mean, yeah, it is about doing that inner work, I guess. It is about the, you know, releasing the beliefs and the programming and all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's a million ways, isn't there, that we can raise our frequency. Yeah, I know a book about that. I'll put a link in the description to that as well. But yeah, so our job is really to just raise our frequency and expand our level of consciousness so that those things are existing. And sometimes I can go online and I can see all sorts of entanglement going on, but it doesn't trigger me. If it triggers you, then it's still within you. This is how I look at it as well. So I think the people that are still being triggered by events going on in the world, they're the one, it's triggering them because there's greed, manipulation, control within them that they need to, you know, shine a light on. Whereas when you've done that kind of inner work and you've shone your light on your own greed and control and manipulation and darkness or whatever is in that, trapped emotions, limiting beliefs, I mean, what have you, then that's how we transcend and that's how we evolve, right? So so I can look at some of that stuff, but it doesn't trigger me anymore, because
Yeah,
it's not in my reality. It's not in
it's not in my
reality.
reality, and I think that um that's the first question people should ask themselves, you know, if they, even if they do feel triggered by something, especially if they do feel triggered by, you know, a war or a corruption or something that they really feel fear about, you know, is it in my reality? You know, I'm just sitting here on my couch. You know, I can watch a news clip or something about something going on somewhere else, even if it's in the next village, but it's not happening here, right now, to me. So, and when I, so it's not in my reality. So I don't need to be fearful right now. Just this moment, I don't need to be fearful. I've nothing to run from. I've nothing to hide from. I'm in control. I'm a sovereign being. And then when I can just take another step back and see, okay, so that's, you know, the fact that it's triggering me, there's something in me that's resonating with it. You know, what is that? And it doesn't have to be equal. You know, it doesn't have to be the same thing. It can be
On the same scale, no.
On the same scale. It usually gets magnified. We're looking in a mirror that is magnified and often twisted and turned upside down. So it could be the exact opposite of what's going on inside of us or an experience that we had. It can be the exact opposite of that, or it can be just a twist of it somehow and a magnification. And honestly, I think it gets more and more magnified and more twisted the longer we avoid seeing the reflection as being our own. You know, if we see it straight away, we just deal with it. You know, if we've been going from we were 10 until we were 60, it's going to be a massive magnification and twisting of the issue. talking in metaphor, but I've lost where I was. Anyway, I've lost where I was. Sorry. You carry on. You say something.
Well, what I was
Something
picking
clever.
up from what you were saying is this, if it's within us, so if it's triggering us, it's within us and we're still working on it. And if it's not triggering, because of what a lot of people might think, right? That if you say it's not in my reality, there's going to be a lot of people that would just go, well, that's selfish of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not
Or
to
you're
help
being a Pollyanna.
not
Yeah.
to help those in need. And I think I bring it back every time to understanding how we create our reality, because when you understand that actually that's not selfish, it's actually how we're helping the collective by doing this inner work, we are then able to create a reality at a higher frequency, which doesn't have this control, greed, or this much, because there's still elements of that within us, right?
Well,
but
it's
doesn't have.
always going to be there in the third dimension. It's always going to be there because it is part of the whole.
Yes, exactly. But if we've evolved into the fourth, or as fifth, or whatever we're talking about dimensions, then it's not going to be in our reality, but it will be
No.
on, as you said, on a smaller scale, and
Yeah, but
this.
also, okay, so if we're talking like that, I'm playing this game, and I've mastered level 3, and I've moved through level 4, and I'm maybe at the beginning of level 5, and suddenly, or maybe I've beaten level 5, whatever it is, not me personally, but somebody. And you can, like you said, I can go back in and play level 3 again with a completely different understanding, seeing the divinity and wholeness of everything and everyone. And I mean, and just have compassion for it all. But it's more that compassion can kind of sound like sympathy, or paternal, kind of patriarchal sort of thing, patronizing. But it's a compassion that is just unconditional love. It's just unconditional love.
I think the point you want to say is there's no suffering. We can go back to the 3D game.
I can go back without my suffering.
No suffering, because we create our own suffering through this perceived separation.
Yes, but I can see that now not as suffering. I can see that now as just part of the game.
Yeah.
And
it's not personal.
It's not personal.
It's just it's just us creating. It's just creation. It's just creation, and then us observing creation, and us choosing how we react to creation, and us choosing to it. Yeah. How we choose to create. Okay, and we make choices, and we understand that fighting against anything, whatever resistance it is, fighting against anyone or any situation, is just going to keep it there. What you resist persists. And whereby if you can go back and play the game again, and you can shine your love, and like you said, you can see and witness the divinity in it all, loving what is, seeing the bigger picture, that is what's going to help you navigate it without suffering, and with that compassion that you talked about, and that unconditional love.
Yeah.
But it kind of, I think this is a continuation of that, because what I'm finding at the moment, we are the creators, and we are creating it all. And we have to ask ourselves, why am I creating this experience? Okay, so the people that are being triggered and upset and are doing all this fighting and resistance, why are we experiencing that? First of all, we learn and grow from our resistance. Our resistance is our key, I think. It's our key to the door of what needs to be walked through. And so
it's like the walls of the path that we're on, you know, it's like the wall on the path. We feel the resistance, and it's telling us to go a different way, or to find another way around it, or
it's our signpost.
Yeah,
it's our resistance that is telling us the direction to go in. But
yeah,
but it is about releasing resistance, because when you have resistance to something, you're not loving what is.
It's fear.
You're not
you know,
seeing
I mean, all resistance comes from fear. All sense of duality comes from fear. You know, the us and the them, and
but
you
taking
know,
responsibility for having created that. So if you're in resistance, and if you're suffering in any way whatsoever, your higher self has created that for you to understand this. And understanding triggers, I will put a link in the description to that video as well, because I think it's relevant here. But on a I don't know whether it's the same thing or not, but I'm noticing with my creations, why am I creating certain things? And it's because we have an opportunity. We have to be the change that we want to see in the world, right? And so what does that look like? It's let's use the cat example, because that's what's happening at the moment for me. So I've put it out there that we're welcoming cats into the garden, because our house is feeling quite animal-less at the moment. And so I've been actively looking for cats. And of course, some have been coming into my reality. But do I want to invest in systems that I don't agree with? Do I want to invest my time, my money, my energy, and my resources in, even though there's do-gooders around and they are doing good and looking after all these cats? I don't know. We have to decide what heaven on earth looks like for us. For me personally, and I'm not judging anyone else here, but for me personally, heaven on earth is living in harmony with animals in their environment, whilst they can live with us in our environment. There is this respect, like we're not going to have pets, we're just going to be living in peace and harmony with animals around us. That's what I want to create. That's my idea. But there's stages, isn't there? So you look at all the traumatized animals, or the stray animals, or the starving animals, and you think, okay, I want to help them, I want to save them, and then you get a sanctuary and you save them, and then of course you still adhere to the laws, and if they're not laws that you want to bring in to, this is an interesting point, because I don't know, it's an interesting point, but if whatever we do, whatever we consent to, whatever we spend our time, money, energy, and resources on, we are bringing it into our reality, or we are maintaining it in our reality. So, that isn't me saying stop paying bills and stop paying fines and things like that. But if that's what resonates with you, take it. But it's like, it's become really aware to me. So then I had someone the other day saying, I understand you don't want the vaccinated cats, the chipped cats, all these animals that have been basically,
kidnapped,
castrated. And it's just like, oh my God, it's coming from a place of love. I understand that. But when it's the law telling you to do all of this stuff, and then you've got to register on some register, I don't know. I was observing it.
Yeah.
And asking myself, do I want this to come into my heaven on earth? Do I want to bring this with me? I'm not judging any situation as it is. Well, obviously I am, but I was trying not to judge any situation.
You're saying, well, do I want to be chipped, vaccinated, castrated, or obviously not castrated? Sorry, neutered. No, I don't want any of that for me.
Yeah.
Do I want to be protected to the point where I'm imprisoned? I'm living in a cage.
Exactly, because I've seen
don't.
some of these cat places and they're not even in a garden, and I'm like, I don't know. But then I understand the flip side, and I don't want to upset anybody. I understand the flip side that people are trying to help and that we're going to get overrun by cats and what have you. Especially it's a big problem here in Spain, and I respect everybody that works in that area. I really do. That's not my point. My
No.
point is,
The point is, it's in your reality.
do I
What do you
want
want
to
to bring in?
create? Yeah, do I want to feed that, or do I want to create my version of heaven on earth? And everyone's got their own version of heaven on earth. And if cats being safe in some kind of prison environment is
Stop
heaven on earth,
apologizing.
that's fine. Yeah.
You know,
So obviously what I've done is put the food outside and it's a bit like what you said before, let the cats come to me.
yeah.
Sit in my stillness, don't force energy where it doesn't want to go. I have my vision of how I want the world to be, and I'm going to invest my time, money, energy, and resources in creating what I want, which is to live in harmony with these animals. And so the food has been outside for a while. There is a black cat that comes and eats at a certain time, and we just let him, and we're not, he runs off when we go out. We're not trying to trap him, we're not trying to do anything. We do keep calling him Leo, though. We keep calling him, and he looks back and he looks like, my name's not Leo. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what your name is. So, you're welcome to come and eat. Anyway, so slowly over time, hopefully, the word will get out that we're living in harmony with these animals. So, but it's just an example. It's just an example of, I've been seeing it quite a lot. There's other examples as well in my own life whereby I feel like I'm being asked to do something, and I have to ask myself, do I want to bring this into the new world, into the new earth, into heaven on earth, however you want, into my reality? Do I want to maintain it in my reality? And this is what we talk about. To me, it's a temperance card because she has one foot still in the water. And I often say we've all got one foot still in the 3D systems going on. So we just have to ask ourselves, is it something that I want to bring into the new world or not? And if it isn't, then don't do it, basically. It's so important that people understand that what we focus our consciousness on, what we invest our money in, what we invest our energy and our time, it's all relevant, is that's what's creating, that's how we create, is by investing that consciousness and that energy. And so it's really important that we invest it in what we want to create. And I'm seeing a lot of in-betweeners, it's like, for example, so the suffering cats are in, maybe, for example, I'm simplifying now, in 3D. And then in 4D, we've got the people that, that are looking after them and helping them and making sure they don't overpopulate. And, that's all great, and it's just it's like the game we're talking about. It's like, but what's our ultimate goal? What's our ultimate vision? Because this is another thing that's come up a lot lately is a lot of people don't really know what they want. People keep going, well, what do you really want? And I think it's really important to just let go of what you think you want, because we're still so programmed that we are not taught to think in miracles.
No, but also even what we think we want is going to be based on our upbringing, our programming, our socialization, all of that, our schooling, our families. Well, so that's limiting. It's all blinkers, So no, I've no idea what I want. Bring it to me and I'll choose one thing at a time.
Exactly.
I'll just sit here and let things come to me, and I'll choose something. And you know what? Maybe it's not the thing, but then I can let it go and choose something else. It's just, that's the joy of living. I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll try the other. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And it's that affirmation, isn't it? I am ready and willing to allow my full potential. Just affirming that and then see what comes. A lot of people going through tarot card moments at the moment, of course. it's not surprising people anymore. Tower card, death card, they're all coming up now in my readings. But, you know, we're not afraid of this anymore. We're just embracing this.
Yeah, and this is the letting go and of fear and building trust. And that was another video that we were going to do.
So we'll stop this one and we'll start another one.
I was going to say that.
We'll go on for ages because letting go is massive. And we've done a nice little segue to that as well. Yeah. So thank you for those ideas that you said. I absolutely love it. The idea about stillness being the acceleration point. To me, that reminds me of the Hanged Man. I always say that about the Hanged Man. He looks like he's not taking any action, but any action that is meant to come through just comes through him effortlessly and choicelessly. And I think that's the key as well, isn't it? Is to just when you're letting the next step come to you, any action that you take is effortless and choiceless, and it just happens in the moment. And that's the opposite of suffering. So what was your second point as well? Sorry, I'm just making notes.
The second one was like the analogy of the video game, and we're moving from dimensions.
But yeah.
It's not about fixing. That was the important thing, I think. It's not about
fixing
3D or getting everybody on board so that we can all evolve together, which is like a very common theme that I have been also sucked into at some point, and that's fine also. It's like we master that third level in the game, and we move through up to where duality doesn't exist anymore. And we're literally just moving through levels of a game, but the other levels continue to exist.
Everything exists.
Everything exists.
Will always exist.
Will always exist.
All that is, if you don't want to experience it in your reality, then raise your frequency to that which you do want to experience.
And sorry, but I just have one other point on that is that it's not like, oh my God, if we all don't evolve together, you know, some are going to be left behind. Nobody's left behind. Nobody gets left behind. There might be people still operating in 3D, or, you know, and I'm sure there are elements in the universe that are operating in 1D and 2D.
I was just going to say that there's so much going on that we don't know about. It's just that we know what's going on in 3D, but there's stuff going on in all dimensions, and we go and visit it in our astral traveling, right? A lot of people do. And that's all going on as well. And it's not in our reality. We can bring it in and we can astral travel, obviously. But exactly, it's only because we're so focused on this 3D that it's still continuing, and we're so focused. Again, I bring it back to the fact that people don't understand how we create our reality, and understanding how we create it, because, you know, it's not sticking your head in the sand. It's actually when you love yourself, because loving yourself is obviously important to raising your frequency. When you love yourself and raise your frequency, you are raising the frequency of the whole collective. You are able to help other people by seeing the divinity in everyone and everything.
Yes, but even that's a dual concept. You know, it's like I'm raising. I'm just moving through dimensions. That's all
we are. But I'm saying that because the people that they that we're
so easy to fall into,
that the people that have resistance, the people that are triggered then by the 3D world, they want to help.
That's me. That's some cells in me.
Of course, we're triggered, but it gets less and less, doesn't it? But they are the ones that are focusing on helping and wanting to help and create peace in the world. So if you're at that level where you're wanting to help other people and create peace in the world, then understand that raising your frequency and evolving through the dimensions and taking yourself away from the separation and the duality is a way to go.
Okay, but you're still talking about people.
Yeah.
Like they're there, like they're out there, they're other people, they think a different way. Do you know, you're still talking in me and them. And I that's what this, to me, this was like a penny dropping just another little bit. It's, you know, it just gets stuck and then it drops and it drops and drops. And this was like, okay, there really are no others. I mean, I know I say that so many, but there really are no others. There is only me in my reality. And you in your reality, but me in my reality. And I'm the one. I'm the one playing the game.
Yeah. And we're enjoying playing in the 3D. And this is one of the things why I said what I just said about other people, because I'm bringing myself to the 3D and I'm having fun in the 3D with my YouTube channel. As you know, I have fun with it. And there are people that will hopefully be watching this, maybe even commenting. So now I am in the 3D, in the duality of it all. And I hope that, to me, it's an example of what I said earlier. We can enjoy the 3D, and it's about navigating the 3D and taking and having fun, you know, and not suffering. I think that's what's going on, is not being triggered and not suffering. So yeah, I'm bringing it to the 3D in order to say to people, thank you for watching, and in order to say to other people that are all part of us, we know. But it's fun. It's like bring that consciousness back into your physical world and see everybody as beautiful love and light, and shining and glowing like you, lovely Liz. And yeah, and we can just have fun and play, which is, and this to me is playing. So I am playing in the duality of the 3D. But I think that's what I'm recognizing. But it's about perceiving all of that and understanding all of that. But it'd be difficult for me to say goodbye to people without acknowledging that there are people there. But we'd love to hear your comments, but we are going to stop this video here. We'll have a little discussion about the title of it, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you, Liz.
Right. Thank you.
Always.
Thanks, Deborah.
Love you.
Bye.
All.
Bye, everyone.
All those other people. Bye for now.